everybody to TensorFlow London, your place to get strategies, tips, advice from the experts on how to build better models, how to use the tool, whether you're a student, you're deep in a corporate job, or you're working for a startup, or you're just curious and exploring. This is definitely the place to be. So please tweet at Seldon_IO, at TensorBeat, ThinkRise London, hashtag TensorFlow LDN. So, at the moment, a bit of a macro view of AI. So, there's around 600 discrete use cases of AI that have been identified. 400 of those are deep learning use cases, 200 are machine learning use cases. Now, we're seeing the early adopters of AI. Those guys are now reporting around 3% to 15% higher margin percentage points than their industry average, respective industries. So what does this mean? Well, once those AI investments actually mature, the income gap between them and their competitors is going to widen. And a really interesting thing which we found is that these early adopters have actually deployed AI the closest to the core of their business, so are in the value chains at the core of their business, compared with later adopters who tend to be experimenting with AI on the periphery value chains of the core. So it's quite an interesting observation there. And naturally, with IT, in the next 4 years, 90% of data and workload is going to be shifted through new generation technologies. So the legacy systems naturally are going to be phased out. But why am I telling you all this? How does it relate to you guys, apart from the fact that you work in AI or are interested? Well, look, 2 weeks ago I was at my desk, working, beavering away, getting frustrated. Felt like I was hitting my head against the brick wall because stuff wasn't going my way. I wasn't being able to move my projects forward. It was one of those days. So, luckily, 3 days later I was going on holiday, and I jumped on a plane to Fuerteventura. 3 days in, I'd had some rest. I was on the beach. I was up this volcano, and I was looking out across this big crevasse, all of these colours, and I took a step back and I thought, 4 days ago I was complaining, moaning about being tired and stressed out, when in fact, I'm part of an AI revolution. In fact, all of us, we're part of something way bigger than us. We've got an incredible opportunity to be part of a hugely impacting industry, which is not just impacting like corporates' bottom lines. It's impacting governments, global trade. It's impacting humans, jobs, and how human AI agents are interacting with humans, ethics, accountability. And it's these topics which are getting talked about in Parliament every month for the APPG forum. There's whole global infrastructures being fundamentally changed. And I felt an overwhelming sense of kind of gratitude, really, for being part of it. And I hope you guys, next time you're there, bang your head against a brick wall because that model, you can't get the model to do what you want, or you've got bugs, whatever it is, just take a step back, breathe, and just remember we're part of something great. So on that note, I'm going to just say, look, it's your meetup. If we've got any good TensorFlow speakers in the crowd, please message us, hello@seldon.io. We'd love to have you speak. And thanks to the sponsors, Google developers, they put on the pizza and help us out. Altros, the founding sponsor. Also, Rewired, a really exciting AI robotics fund. If there's any startups in the room, we'd be more than happy to introduce you. And then Rise, with a partnership with Barclays, who actually host us here. So without further ado, I'll bring Lee on the stage.
Good evening, I'm Lee and I'm responsible for the commercial business here at Seldon. I think most of you have heard from me before, so I'll try and take up as little of your time as possible. This is your meetup and we just facilitate it for you, and we're about to go into a period of aggressive listening, both within the confines of this meetup but also wider amongst our users and enterprise customers. So come and find us. The Seldon folk are floating around this evening. We're also going to be a little bit more formalised. We have shared on your seats a customer survey to give us a better idea of how we can develop the better product that matches your requirements and your needs. Andy and Inga will be floating around picking those up from you. But just to give you a tidbit of some of the feedback that we're getting already, some of the questions that we've asked around, around cloud provision, container technology, and data. So the preview on that. At the moment, AWS is the cloud of choice, but we're forecasting a shift in that as more and more companies are evaluating cloud providers in tandem. We also asked a question around containers, and Kubernetes standing out with almost half of our survey respondents using Kubernetes to Dockerize their solutions. And then finally, around models, we asked the question of self-contained versus requiring access to data. And again, most of the models that people are running are requiring some sort of solution, some sort of access to data points. So please fill in the survey for us. If you can't stand hard copy, there is an online version of bit.ly/Seldon survey, and we're going to be closing the survey on Friday. And if you provide your email address, we will make sure that we share with every respondent a PDF of that report. Woo! Doesn't get any sexier than that. PDFs and T-shirts. Okay, so as I said, I promised I wasn't going to take too much time. I just want to say we've got two very strong speakers. First of all, from Google, Barbara Fasinska. Have I got that surname right? I have been practicing. Thank you, Barbara. Barbara's going to touch on the Kubeflow project. Again, show of hands, who is familiar or has heard of Kubeflow as a project? Okay, very good. Right. So, as you may or may not know, Seldon released our open source solution, Seldon Core, at the very beginning of the year. And we have been overwhelmed by the success. We're running a Slack community in support of that project. So feel free to catch up with the team, and we'll share an invite if you want to be part of that group. But through that release, we grabbed the attention of the Kubeflow team, and we're very proud that actually Seldon will be the first serving engine on the Kubeflow platform. But to give you a little bit more information on that, I'm going to hand over to Seldon CTO, Clive Cox, to talk about our work. Clive, do you want? Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I just want to give a quick update to Seldon Core, which is our open source project. So for those of you who don't know, we're doing machine learning deployment on Kubernetes. And I'll leave the description of why that's good to run on Kubernetes to our next speaker. There's the open source you can find on GitHub. Great to have your feedback. So one thing I just want to show is obviously doing machine learning. There's a lot of stages you've got to get right from the data ingestion, the training, right down to the deployment. And I want to just focus where we are working and where Kubeflow is. So we're just focused on purely the deployment side at the end, getting that deployment, monitoring, optimization, getting the analytics from the actual running machine learning models you've got out there, and feeding that back into the whole flow. So that's where we are. And just from my take on what Kubeflow is, which is obviously, so what I see there is it's like a full ecosystem for machine learning. So it's like getting the best practice, the best tools to run on Kubernetes, so that you as data scientists can basically choose what you want to actually solve and get really solid production systems to solve these steps. And Seldon Core is one part of that. So just to say, Kubeflow, as I said, is completely pluggable. So here's an example. So Kubeflow uses KSonic to install packages, part of the system. So you can choose to install TensorFlow serving if you want, just by doing one line, or you can choose to use Seldon Core as deployment by doing another line, or you can choose to do both. So it's meant to be completely pluggable, and they're going to extend out what you can run on the system in terms of training, TensorFlow, and other systems. So I think that's one great aspect of Kubeflow. But just focusing on one aspect of what we're doing at Seldon, or something we've released yesterday, is that one thing we want to do is be completely agnostic in terms of the tools you use as data scientists. So TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, Spark, R jobs, Java jobs. We want to allow you data scientists to train and deploy using any of those languages or tools that are out there. And so all we require is these two steps, that your runtime prediction can be Dockerized, be packaged as a Docker container, and then exposed via REST or gRPC APIs to our microservice API. So that's pretty simple, but we want to make it even easier for people to do that final step, to actually Dockerize and expose their component via these ways. We've got two ways we're doing it. One is our own wrapper to do that in one step. But yesterday we also open sourced an integration to Red Hat's OpenShift source to image, which is basically a system they've created to allow you to easily create source code, either on GitHub or local source code, and package it up in one step into a Docker container with certain requirements. So those requirements can be defined by the developers. In this case, the requirements that we need for Seldon Core. And we can package, we've got builder scripts for Python 2 and Python 3 at the moment. We want to extend that to R and Java. So you just in one line, you can use their source to image tool to package your source code, your machine learning runtime into a Docker container. So we want to make it as easy as possible, basically. So that's there, and it'd be great to get some feedback on that new Red Hat installation.